Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. As you can see, I am standing in front of an ambulance, what I think is a really nice ambulance, and it is mine. I have bought an ambulance, and so I know a lot of you are going to be curious, Bob, why in the world did you buy an ambulance? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, all my reasons are very personal, and they probably won't apply to a lot of you, but I'm going to try to make it so the process that I went through in making my choice will be helpful to you. So why am I selling my van? Actually, I'm not selling my van. I'm going to donate my old van to Homes on Wheels Alliance, the 501c3 nonprofit that we founded, and donate it to them, and they'll raffle it off, and you can watch the homesonwheelsalliance.org page for information on winning the raffle. I'm shooting this in beginning of May of 2021, so if you're watching this later, it's over by now, I'm sure. Be aware of the date. So, why am I changing? The most important thing you can do is decide what is my personal priority in living a nomadic life. And that's going to be different for everyone, and there are no right or wrongs. If it's your personal priority, that's all you need to know. But make it your personal priority and not some weird guy on YouTube or your friends or your family. Search your heart and decide, this is the life I want from living on the road in a vehicle. For me, that's getting into the backcountry, because that's where my heart belongs. And that's really what you want to find out. Where does your heart belong? What makes your heart sing? Now, for some of you, that might be being in towns because you enjoy culture and museums and being around people. Perfectly fine. If that's what makes your heart sing, then go for that. And you'll make a very different choice than I, because this is not going to be good driving around in the city and stealth parking in the city. So because for me, being in the backcountry is a priority, my history has been that I get stuck a lot in two-wheel drive vans. Occasionally I did find one that didn't get stuck very often, but I'd been in a four-wheel drive F-150 pickup for about 3 years, and it works fantastically for me. I desperately have wanted for a long time to get back to a four-wheel drive. I've regretted not being in one ever since I sold it. So I've been thinking I want a four-wheel drive pickup. I want to get into the backcountry. Nature is my reason for being out here. It's my highest priority. So I started looking for four-wheel drive pickups. When you'll say, why not a four-wheel drive van? Because they're few, they're far between, they're very expensive, they're non-factory. You're not buying a four-wheel drive van from the factory with true four-wheel drive, transfer case, high and low end, locking hubs. You're just not going to buy that. So I wanted a four-wheel drive pickup. Then I thought, okay, I'll get a camper. But then with a camper, two reasons why I didn't want a camper. All the weight's on the rig. You got to buy a big, heavy truck to carry it. It's really tall. That's my main problem with campers, is their height. And that's an enormous drawback in the national forest. Roads start to grow over, and you can't get them down these wides. They're tall and wide, and that was a downfall. Not only that, but my knees are a problem, really a bad problem. And I don't want to have to climb up into the bed of a four-wheel drive pickup and then up into the bed. And my dog is going to have to jump up in the bed. And I lived in an F-150, and I know how big a deal that was, getting into the rig. I didn't even have a tall bed to get into, but now I would, and how big a deal that was for my dog. So I kind of ruled out four-wheel drive pickup and camper. Well, one day I stumbled across an ambulance store in Bakersfield, California, where I bought this van, and he had these four-wheel drive, factory four-wheel drive on a dually chassis that's called a cutaway. That means all it is a cab and then a bare frame, and then the different manufacturers put different boxes on them, whatever you want. And of course, this one had an ambulance. And I said to myself, that's the perfect thing for me. So my priority being backcountry, four-wheel drive pickup, camper, the interior is mostly built and ready to go. An ambulance was the perfect thing for me. It's lower than a factory camper. And much lower. The center of gravity will be built lower. It's built down around the wheel wells. In every way, it's not as wide as most campers, and that's why it's in most ways superior to me. It's on a very heavy dually one-ton frame The gross weight on this is 13,500. That's huge. It's got a Duramax diesel with an Allison transmission. The Allison transmission is by far better than any other diesel transmission on the market. The Duramax, to my mind, is not as good as the Cummins, but it's very close. And so the Duramax, the diesel, was really a handy thing. If I want to get more into the backcountry, I can tow a Jeep. At some point in the future, with this setup, I can easily tow a Jeep. And so that left me flexibility for the future. Probably none of that's important to you. You decide your priority and laser focus on your priority and get that for yourself within your budget. The next thing that was really, really important to me is I am running a business out of my vehicle home. CheapRVLiving, as the website and the YouTube channel, they're a business. I make a substantial amount of money doing it, and I pay taxes every year, and it's become a big thing. I needed a studio. Today's a windy day, but at least it's not raining. I need an inside studio where I can shoot videos in bad weather. If I get a week of rain, I just can't shoot videos right now in my van. So I wanted to set up a studio. I also am the president and the co-founder of Homes on Wheels Alliance, and we have meetings and gatherings all the time. I needed a gathering place. I needed a conference room in my home, because not all of us live on the road. We don't have a building. Well, someday we may have a building. I don't know when that day will come. So until then, we meet inside, and bad weather, rain, wind, those are normal routine things in the desert. You've got to be inside. And so I needed a gathering place. The ambulance with its big open space fulfilled that perfectly. That's something for you to think about. If you want to do things that take a lot of room, you want to do crafting on the road, you want to be a carpenter on the road, you want to install solar on the road, you want to be a handyman on the road, whatever. I mean, there's the options. You want to sew, you want to paint. All those things take more room inside, and having space that you can spread out. First thing I did was build a bed across the back. I'll show you. And so I have a desk I can work at. You could build this vehicle around your desk where you can do your art, whatever your art may be. Think about what you want to do with your life, and can you get by with a small space? If not, then an ambulance really is great for that. And my third reason was because it was halfway ready to move into and required so little effort. I mean, with all the storage in it, I don't have to do much of a build. I added a bed, I added a desk, I added some shelving. I've made a few minor changes to it, you'll see. But for the most part, you could move right in and be done and living in it immediately. So because I have so little time, I had plenty of room on the roof for solar, and I needed a lot of solar. It was just the perfect thing for move-in ready. There are a few things as move-in ready as an ambulance. So the first three reasons were I wanted four-wheel drive to get into the backcountry, I wanted a big space to do business, and I wanted it to be move-in ready, minimal amount of work with plenty of room, space on the roof for solar. The fourth reason I bought an ambulance over anything else, and I've given this a lot of thought for a long time, is the quality. An ambulance is built to last decades. It's built to last forever. Let's think about this scenario. You buy a cheap, half-assed, poorly constructed vehicle, like an RV, which is the ultimate in really crappy construction. And it starts falling apart. No one cares. They've cheated you. You know you've been cheated. You fix it as you go. And to be honest, if you buy a crappy RV and you take it out once a month, it'll serve you for a long, long time. If you buy a crappy RV and you move into it and you're going to live in it full time with all your stuff and you're going to travel constantly, it's going to fall apart pretty much immediately. So you're out on a run and someone dies because your ambulance has broken down and it's poor quality and it's just falling apart. You'll be sued out of existence. And so this thing is built to the highest quality standards. It's rollover tested. These things are designed to last for decades. The quality is one of the most superior of all vehicles on the road. The only thing I think that is higher quality than an ambulance is a school bus. And the most important thing on the planet is in a school bus. So that is number one. But I think number two is an ambulance, because it's your life and your life's pretty important to you and it's pretty important to a lot of other people. So the quality on these things is superior. They're almost always all aluminum on the interior. The exterior, they have insulation. They're well insulated. You're out at 110 degrees, 130 degrees. The thing can't get incredibly hot inside. You'll all die from heat stroke. You can't all die from heat stroke on an emergency run. And so they're extremely well made. I've seen people with these that are 20 years old, and you shut any of the doors anywhere on that box and it shuts like the day it came out of the factory. It's not going to just fall apart. And finally, the final point to me was the comfort I'm going to get out of all this open space. I like a small space, but because I've been running a business out of a van, it has gotten really cluttered and full. And so moving out into the ambulance, which will give me so much more room, everything can be hidden away, it can be put in places, it won't be cluttered. I think I'm going to be just tremendously more comfortable, without any question, living inside the ambulance instead of the van. One of the problems that come with all ambulances is they rarely have windows, an adequate amount of windows for living in, but they can be added later, and potentially I will add one later. Now let's talk about some of the reasons you would not consider an ambulance. And I'll be honest with you, in the past, the reasons not to get an ambulance have far outweighed the reasons to get one. At this point in my life, things have changed, and this works really well for me. I know deep in my heart this is the right thing. But why wouldn't you get an ambulance? First, they're more expensive. Again, the box holds up forever and has value in and of itself. New ambulances are very, very expensive. So, you know, it used to be the idea you could go out and buy a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 ambulance, and you still can. But if you do, that ambulance will have well over 300,000 miles, and it will be one of the small van ambulances. Ambulances go by categories. This is a category 1. It's a light duty box. This is on a 1-ton frame. A category 2 is just a van, regular van with the high top, and all the storage and things are built in. Category 3 is a heavy-duty truck. It's going to be a 4500. This is either it's an F350 if it's a Ford, or an 3500 if it's a Chevy. It's a 1-ton. Category 3s go above 1 ton. One of the things to factor in, you just might automatically think, well, great, a 4500. That's a big, heavy truck. That's even better. You can get those in 4-wheel drives as well. But one thing to factor in is that your insurance will be more. We'll talk about insurance here in a minute. But it will also have really big tires. This has standard 16-inch tires. Because it's a little older, this is a 2011. The newer ones are probably going to have 17s. And as the tire gets bigger, they get much more expensive. Your 4500 is going to have a 19-inch tire. That is a tremendously expensive tire. You're probably looking at $600 a tire. It's going to be outrageously expensive. Next, the big reason not to consider one of these is the cost of the insurance. Now, every state is different. There are 50 states. There are 50 different sets of regs about commercial vehicles. This is a commercial vehicle. It was bought by a company and used commercially. And it's heavy. It's a 1-ton. The gross on this is $13,500. That, people usually don't buy these heavier vehicles as personal vehicles. They're commercial. You have to find out from your state what your regulations are as far as taking a commercial vehicle and buying insurance for it. It's going to be different in every state, and I can't tell you what it's going to be. A lot of states, it's just no big deal. You go do it, you tell your insurance agent that I'm turning into a camper. He says, fine, he insures you, no problem. And I hope it goes that way for you. But there are states where they will not do it. They make it impossible. The standards and regulations for making this into a camper are so high, turning it into an RV are so high, you're just not going to be able to do it. Or you're going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and an enormous amount of time meeting all their requirements. I'm in Nevada, and when I registered this and titled it, I talked to the guy for a while about it, and it didn't sound too bad. I'd have to put in permanent tanks, I'd have to put in a toilet, I'd have to put in a stove, a mounted stove, not just my camp stove, but it wasn't terrible. I am using it commercially in the business, at least part-time, and so I felt to be ethical, I had to go ahead and pay business insurance. And it's very expensive. You, as an individual, you will want to really rethink the whole insurance thing. Easy solution. Get the VIN number before you buy it. Call an insurance agent. Tell him, I'm buying this vehicle. This is the VIN number. How much is insurance going to be? That's all you have to do. You have to do that no matter what, right? You can't, in none of the states can you title a vehicle and register a vehicle without insurance already. You have to do it before you buy. It's just that simple. Get the VIN, talk to an insurance agent, be forearmed before you put down any money on any commercial vehicle. Problem solved. So there you go, there you have it. That's why I have chosen to buy an ambulance and move into it. And again, I will donate my old van to Homes and Wheels Alliance and they will raffle it. Look into that, go to the Homes and Wheels Alliance page. Again, this is May of 2021, so if you're watching this much later, that's going to be over. Be aware of that. I hope you got some ideas. Now, I know a lot of these were very personal and individual to me and they won't apply to you. But those are the ideas. You think about what are my priorities, what do I need out of a vehicle home, and get the things that will make you happy. So over the years, I've learned that I don't want to climb up into tall places. I want to get into the backcountry. I need a certain amount of room. I would like, as I get older, I would like to maybe consider towing another vehicle so I have a spare vehicle. Those are all things that you need to think about yourself and apply to your own personal situation. What do you want out of a vehicle home? Be really honest. How much comfort do you have to have? Actually, I'm looking for a little more comfort now than I used to, and that will change. And changing homes is normal. This is my 5th vehicle. Expect to be changing vehicles over the course of your time living as a nomad. Nothing wrong with that. Really normal and typical. Do your best so you waste the least amount of money the first time, but accept the fact that you may have to change along the way. So I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.